Hi, I'm Darnell at Wave Over Recipes, and this is my review of the Megahome water distiller. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed. So everything is unboxed, and it comes with a lot of different parts and such, so we'll kind of go through how everything has to be assembled here together. But I do want to mention this is the SBS model of their water distiller. They make another one that costs a bit less, but I wanted this one because with this one the water never touches any aluminum, which is a key factor that you want to have in anything that's holding anything that you're putting in your mouth. You want to try and avoid anything touching aluminum. But it comes with basically some paperwork here, a manual for the glass bottle container, the receptacle that catches the distilled water, and manual for the unit itself. And they just give you a little pamphlet about ready to start distilling if you have any problems and such. But this is the glass receptacle that catches the distilled water and the lid for it. And this is the handle parts for it. We'll go through putting that together. And it has some metal rings that go around it. We'll go through that also. There's the power cord for the water distiller. Guess I've got my water here. I was kind of taking a sip while I was sitting down here with it for a moment. But that doesn't come with the unit. You can ignore that. I'll have to remove that from the video in a little bit. But this is the unit and the lid for the unit. And they also give you some cleaner to clean the unit with. They also give you a 6-pack of filters. So like this is one filter, one charcoal filter here, and there's 6 of them in the pack. So that's all that comes with it. And before I start putting things together, something that I'm eager to check out is how much water it really can hold. It's supposed to, well, they say in the description like make a gallon of distilled water, but I want to check if the distillation holder holds a gallon and this here holds a gallon. This can't be a gallon. I mean, this is a gallon here. It doesn't look like this is a gallon receptacle here. Now inside of the distillation chamber, it's got like a full line, kind of like right here. It's got a little easy to see line that says full, but I'm going to just start pouring water in to see how much of my gallon gets in before I reach that full line. Or maybe I'll reach it all the way. Let's see. Alright, so I've got the full gallon poured in, and I'm actually just a little short of the full line. I think it could take a little more water to get the full. So you probably can't see it. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a full line like right here that the water is just below. So the distillation chamber can hold definitely a gallon of water, maybe just a touch more even. But you definitely can't get all that water, all this gallon of water, into this glass bowl where it catches what you distill, which means that as with any distiller, there's some loss of water, but how much we're not, I guess, totally certain. So let's figure out how much water this receptacle, this receiver here, can hold in water. I've taken the gallon of water from here, poured it back in here. It's still a gallon, and I'm just going to see how much I can pour in before I've got too much, because I really don't think that a whole gallon's going to make it into here, but we'll see how much we get. Maybe the whole gallon will go, maybe it won't. Whoa, look at that. Whoa. I definitely thought a gallon couldn't hold. I said there's no way. It just didn't look like it from it being smaller than that there, but I guess the shape of it, wow. Look at that. I mean, this thing, which is much larger and was filled up to like here, the water can fit in just because I guess the bottom of it is a little wider. It's just the dynamics of the shapes. Pretty interesting. But it can hold a full gallon. So if there is no water loss in the distillation process, the full gallon that goes in here should be able to go in here and be filled up to about here, but we can measure it later after we do some distillation to ensure or see if we get a full gallon. We'll have to check that out later. And I do want to point out that this receiving jar is glass. So basically, with this SBS model, everything is touching either stainless steel, this stainless steel in here, or glass. And so that's pretty cool that, you know, it's stainless steel, glass. That's what I wanted out of a water distillation unit. Now for putting things together, they say that you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver. That's the only tool they say you'll need. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting things together. You're supposed to be able to take this strap here and kind of wrap it around. You're not going to put your screw in yet. So I'm going to get this screw out of here. So I'm going to do the top one first. Just kind of take it and you want to kind of fasten it in because there's kind of like a little latch. And so just got that first one latched in, and then take the lower one and just kind of do the same thing to get it kind of latched in, well, over this latch, and pop it in place here. So, let's see, can I get it in here? Maybe I had it backwards. Yeah, you got to put the blue over the, like part of it's silver and part of it's blue. You want to put the blue part on top. So, got that fastened on there. And then you take the handle and you put the handle in place over the basically two holes. And you got to take the screws and put the screws into the handle. So I also want to make sure that these straps are basically on the back side, like you got the spout over here on this end. You want the handle on the back end of that. So try and get things lined up. Now I got to get things into each of the hole areas here. And let's see if I can start screwing in this top one here. Alright, that one's going in. Let's see if I can get this lower one kind of screwed in a little bit. Alright, that's working. So, got things screwed in on the bottom a bit tight, a little tight. And on the top, don't want to do it too tight, you know, I don't want to break my glass jar. Here on video especially. So, got it hooked in there. Now there's a cover that goes on the handle, so basically you're supposed to be able to pop this cover in place. So, just seeing if that snaps in. There we go. So I got the handle cover put in there like that. And so the receiving jar is all set up. And they say with this receiving jar, basically when you're distilling water, it's got this marking here that says outlet. You're supposed to, oops, not put it in like that, sorry. You're supposed to put it so that the outlet marking is right there on the spout so that the water's spilling in as it's being distilled on the outlet setting. And then when you're done and you want to just kind of keep your water from getting too messed up later, you turn that so that it's covering the spout. Now the thing about it is there's still a small gap there. So you may want to buy yourself some like separate water bottles that you can seal tight, because this isn't going to be a perfect seal, so you're still going to possibly have things floating in that you might not want in your water. Now to use the filters, this little spout that they give you that comes with the water distiller, you're supposed to take one or two, they say one or two of these little charcoal filter packs and stick them in, basically fold it over and stick it in there. You can put two or you can put one depending on how well you want to basically charcoal filter the water. Now after you've got your charcoal filter into the little nozzle here, you're supposed to get this put into the top of the unit, the lid of the unit. It just kind of snaps in just like that there, and then you've got it set up there like that. And so once you've got everything all put together, you can basically, let's say I had water in here, I would put the top on top of here. I would take this, actually I got to turn it to the side so it's not in the right position. It's got to be turned to the side so that this, basically the plug here, can plug into the bottom of the unit here. So let me get that in there. You just got to set it down and plug it in. So once it's plugged in, then you can take this and just set it right on top like that. You got your power cord that you would plug into the back of the unit back there, and you basically you could set it up, let's say like this, and you have things turned to the outlet setting that I told you about. You set that like that there, and there you go. You could distill your water just like that. That's how you have it set up. So I've got things all set up here on the counter. Just want to really quick just show you how tall it is. Do a tape measurement here. You see it's about maybe 14.5 inches tall. The base down bottom is about, no, you can't see it, but it's about 8 inches wide. And so I want to mention, they say that the filter that I showed you that you put in, you're supposed to change that, they say, every 25 days. And they say with like this first run that I'm going to do, I've got it already filled with water in the distillation chamber. They say that that kind of cleans the piping that the water goes through to basically get distilled. So you probably don't want to drink that first basic output, or the first bit of water that you make, that first gallon that you make. That's just kind of to help clean things up. I did wash all the parts, but you can't get inside of where the water runs before it comes out the spout as it's being distilled and come through here. So you just want to kind of take this first run, this kind of your cleaning. And so I'm going to go ahead and plug it in now, and we'll see if it starts. They say that, yeah, when you plug it in, it's already set to be on. So the next time that it runs, I think this button is supposed to go to off after it's finished. And then the next time that I plug it in, I would have to press the button to start it. For the first run, it's already going. And they say it takes maybe 5.5 hours to make a gallon of distilled water out of this thing. But I'm going to let it run for a while. Alright, so I'm just getting over here to have a look after about 42 minutes or so of it running, and I'm seeing water dripping down, distilled water. So that looks pretty good, that things are moving along and it's distilling away. So I'm going to just basically let it run for some hours. I'll bring you back in some hours, you know, whenever it's done. We'll see when it's done. So after nearly 5.5 hours, the unit just turned off. It just went click and just turned off. And so basically when it's done, it shuts itself off. But it was 5 hours 22 minutes to be exact. It was 5 hours 22 minutes to be exact how long it ran before it shut down. And so we got our full gallon of water. I mean, I think that's, you know, that's a full gallon there. So I thought we might lose some with the transfer of the evaporation and the, you know, to distill the water and all that good stuff. But basically you put a gallon in and you get a gallon of distilled water out of it, which is pretty cool. It works out pretty nice. And so this water, it feels just a little warm. It's just warm. They do say because of the water having to be evaporated here, that you shouldn't take the lid off this unit for like at least 20 minutes. Let it cool down. So you just want to kind of leave that alone for a while before you open it up. Now, as far as noise, it wasn't very loud. It was a steady, just kind of the fan running and the, you know, the thing going, doing its thing, but it wasn't very loud. I do use like a directed mic, so it might sound a little louder to you than it was, but it wasn't very loud. It was kind of like a constant sound that you could hear and you notice, but it wasn't like an annoying type sound. It wasn't like an air fryer type of a sound either. it was something where if you were on a phone call or something, it wouldn't be too much trouble. It wouldn't be too bad. So you probably could run this during the day, and you know, if you're at home during the day or something, or it wouldn't be a problem for you, even on phone calls probably. Now I do want to talk about cleaning the unit. With cleaning, they do give you a bunch of this cleaner here, and they say that it's basically like a citric acid type of a cleaner. And it says citric acid, and then it says this other word here, which I can't even pronounce, but I had to look it up. And it basically translates to free from water. So basically, it's basically like dried citric acid. And their citric acid comes from like either corn or potato is how they make their citric acid. But basically what you do, you would have the lid off, this lid off, and you would fill, and you do this like once a month, they said. You fill with hot water up to the point wherever you see residue. So wherever you see residue, you fill it up with hot water up to the point of the residue. Then you add 1 tablespoon of this into that water, and then you turn the unit on and you let it basically boil that water for about 20 minutes. And once it's done with boiling for 20 minutes, then you can basically let things, I guess, cool off enough so that you can wipe it all out. You can pour the water out and wipe it all out. And that's how you basically generally clean this thing. So we got our gallon of water, and that's pretty good. Things worked out. So the water distiller, it did its thing. It distilled the water, distilled the full gallon, gallon in, gallon out. You know, I was skeptical of how much might be lost and all that stuff, but it does the whole gallon, produces a whole gallon. It runs for nearly 5.5 hours, as they say in their spec. So works out pretty good. And at like 580 watts, that's like, you know, like maybe a little less than 6 100-watt light bulbs running for that 5.5 hours. That's not gonna, you know, kill you too much, but it all depends on, you know, your needs, your wants, and what you're comfortable with doing. It's all up to you. And so I do want to mention a couple of other things. I'm not going to go into those in any detail, but those are things that you would want to research and be familiar with before you get into water distillation, if that's something you're interested in. If you're going to drink this water and use it for drinking, you want to add minerals to it after you distill it. And so you can look into doing that. Another thing you may want to look into is making the water coherent after you add the minerals, if you know anything about making water coherent. If you don't, hey, you know, that's something you can look into. Guys like Dr. Tom Cowan are into that type of thing and know all about it. And you can look and learn about it too, but after you add your minerals, you can take the actions that would be necessary to make the water coherent so that you've got really clean water with minerals and coherent, if that's what you want to do. And so people need distilled water for different types of uses, and so that's, you know, up to you. I just wanted to basically show you the water distiller, how it works, that it works as they basically promote it to work, and it does do a full gallon. So I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm pretty impressed. You know, I was skeptical of how it would go, as I said, but it did its thing. So with all that said, nothing in this video at all is sponsored. Buy it all with my own money and all. So if you did like the video, you can find in the video description lots of ways to help the channel. There'll be like a referral link to my shop. You can get this and other things. You can also, there'll be a link to like my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com. Lots of recipes there you can check out. Also a link to my cookbook. You can support that way. There's like memberships, merch, all that good stuff, donations as well. And so with all of that said and everything all done, if you like this video, you can also give it a thumbs up. Share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon, and good eating.